Hello, everybody. Today, I want to talk to you about a few more common interview questions for Kubernetes. These questions come from a GitHub repo that I already have that has 288 questions and answers. I'll put a link to that in the description below. So if you want to, if you rather study these things in a written format, that'll be the place to go. So first question today I want to talk about for a Kubernetes interview is how did you manage secrets in Kubernetes? Answer to this question is you can do it two different ways. You can Kubernetes obviously already provides support for secrets, so you can define a secret, say a password, give it a name, and with the password in, they will be opaque, so nobody can actually look at them. But a service account or a pod can use those secrets as it needs. It can be mounted, it could be used other ways, but that's the way you can. That's one way of one native way to handle Kubernetes secrets in Kubernetes. The other way you can do that, there are third-party tools like HashiCorp Vault that is even more secure than your Kubernetes cluster secrets. You can use them as well. You can use tools like that as well to use to have secrets to use secrets in your Kubernetes cluster. So those are the two ways of doing that. The next question I want to talk to you about is, for example, it's a scenario question. If there's a resource running in first of all, what is the context, right? Context is a way of connecting to a cluster from your local host. So I can have a context that points to cluster A. I can have a context that points to cluster B. Question is, if we have a resource already running on cluster A, context A, how can you easily and quickly run the same resource on the second context? There's two steps to that. One is you run the kubectl get command and output in format of YAML. That gives you the resources definition in YAML format. You can save that to whatever. And then in the second step, you switch context and then you do a kubectl apply -f, the file name of what we just saved. That will recreate the same exact resource on a different context. That could be a different second cluster, for example. The third question I want to talk to you in this video is what is the difference between Ingress and Ingress controller? Ingress in Kubernetes is basically it's kind of a wish list. Like you define an Ingress saying, I want to allow Ingress traffic from these namespaces or these IPs to these pods with this level, with these labels and whatnot. It's just a definition. It doesn't actually do anything. It's just a copy. It's just a description almost, a configuration almost of what kind of ingress or egress traffic you want to allow. The difference between that ingress and the ingress controller is that ingress controller actually implements those configurations for you, and there are many kinds. So that would be that would be another common question interviewer will ask you. So and he or she might ask you, how did you implement Ingress Kubernetes in your cluster? So you have to know that. The most common one is a load balancer in AWS. If your cluster is running on AWS, the second and the other common one is, of course, if you're running in GKE, you can use Google's load balancers as your Nginx controller, right? However, there are many more implementations of the same thing. The reason, the second most common one is Nginx proxy. I'm sorry, Nginx Ingress controller. That is something supported by Kubernetes. It is widely usable and available. And the reason people use that is because the features of this particular Ingress controller it's much more wider than a normal load balancer running on AWS or GKE. There are many others like HA proxy, Istio, Traffic, Skipper, Voyager. There's just so many. There's like almost 20 by now that implements Ingress for you in a Kubernetes cluster. So those are, I think, 4 different questions that I covered in this video today. And I will go ahead and do other videos with different other common questions people ask on an interview for Kubernetes. All right, I'll see you in the next video.